Hello friends, uh, I'm Dr. Vilas Kohli. Today I am going to present my micro teaching on sustainable development, uh, an activity under refresher course in environmental science and sustainable development, organized by Madan Mohan Malviya Mission, Teachers Training Center, and in association with BAMU Marathwada, Babasaheb Dr. Ambedkar Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. Uh, topic, my topic is sustainable development. As all of us know that environment and sustainable development goes hand in hand. Nowadays these are becoming the buzzwords in a society. All the scholars, researchers, academicians, government authorities, they are talking about, discussing about, and exchanging about the thought and ideas over the environmental issues and the sustainable development measures to be taken in order to protect human life on this planet. Friends, my presentation begins with table of content, which includes introduction, definition, how sustainability works, objectives of sustainable development, pillars of sustainable development, goals, importance of sustainable development, examples of sustainable development, and what prevents it from happening, and finally, its conclusion. So, let me begin with an introduction. First of all, it's important to see the term what is sustainable development, which comes first to prominence in the World Conservation Strategy WCS in 1980. It achieved a new status with the publication of two significant reports by Berthold on North and South, which is a program for survival and common crisis, published in 1985, and Our Common Future in 1983, and has gained even greater attention since the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. The next is the definition of sustainable development. Can be defined as an approach to the economic development of a country without compromising with the quality of the environment for future generations. So what is important is the quality of environment, which cannot be compromised at any cost. Uh, if it is maintained, then the future generation will reap the benefit of it. And in the name of economic development, the price of environmental damage is paid in the form of land degradation, soil erosion, air and water pollution, deforestation, etc. So if the proper measures, if the proper preventive measures are not taken in time and in a systematic order, then the future generation would face these impacts of this sustainable development if it is not observed strictly. How it works, how sustainability development works. Sustainability development encourages business to frame decisions in terms of environmental, social, and human impact of the long term rather than on short term gains, such as next quarter's earning report. It also influences them to consider more factors than simply the immediate profit or loss involved in it. Increasingly, companies have issued sustainability goals such as commitment to zero waste packaging by a certain year or to reduce overall emissions by a certain percentage. These companies can achieve their sustainability needs by cutting emissions, lowering their energy usage, sourcing products from fair trade organizations, and ensuring their physical waste is disposed of properly and with as small as carbon footprint as possible. Now, what are the objectives of sustainable development? The first one is economic growth. The second one, environmental protection, and followed by social inclusion. Now, the chart shows these three, environmental, social, and economic, and at the center of it is sustainable development. So, if all these three go hand in hand, they work together, they facilitate one another, then definitely sustainable development is possible, and that can be one of the objectives of sustainable development. You know what it needs? A viable natural environment. Environmental means what? It's a viable natural environment. So whatever the earth has been surrounded by the greenery, the ecological life, animal, human beings, everything. Second one is sustainable natural and built environment. The third one is a nurturing community, that is very important, which comes under the social category. Then equitable social environment, sufficient economy, all these three factors will facilitate the sustainable development. Now, if it is done, then there would be a structure, a permanent structure, which is at the top of the pillars and which is being supported by three important pillars, which are named as social, one of the social pillars, then environment and economy. These are the three most important pillars upon which the sustainable development is based. So, social, as far as social is concerned, it is but a vast topic, but I just mentioned here the very beginning of it. Then, after seeing all these goals, we now need to see how these 17 goals to transform our world. It is very important to reduce or almost no poverty, zero poverty in a society. So first of all, we have to say no poverty, because poverty encourages to voraciously grab the natural resources or may reach damage to the environment. Second one is zero hunger. Now, if there is poverty, definitely it leads to hunger, and if hunger rises, then definitely there would be the more demand for the food, and they will naturally reach damage to environment. So number two goal, to reduce this hunger up to zero, at the zero level. The third one is good health and well-being. That is very important. When the society is healthy, their thoughts are healthy, their ideas are very innovative, and they reciprocate with the environment in a better way, in a healthy way. So there would be a green zone for all of them. Fourth one, which is shown with color red, which is again very important one, and that is quality education. Now, how can this poverty be come down to zero level, hunger be come down to zero level, there could be good health? It is because of education, because education is the means of change in a society, as it is said. So, if there is quality education, then definitely the people's approach towards nature, people's approach towards environment and its sustainability will be a sound one, as it is said, sound mind in sound body. So education definitely serves the purpose, and it includes all, phases of education, including primary school, higher secondary school, junior colleges, senior colleges, every type of education. Fifth one is gender equality. That is also important. Gender equality serves the purpose of maintaining equality in nature as well as protecting environment. So, if there is a rise of male gender and there is low extent of female gender, then definitely it would create a kind of imbalance, and this imbalance would affect the environmental issues. Sixth one is yes, there is sixth one, which is clean water and sanitation. That is also very important. Clean water, because it is directly related to the health and well-being of the human society, all the human beings, including animal beings. So sanitation is the next very matter of concern, which requires to be looked at very seriously, and if it is done, then definitely it would help to transform our world into a better sustainable environment. The seventh one is affordable and clean energy. That's also very important. It should be affordable, and different sources of energy be found and be utilized for the sake of uh, human betterment. Then decent work and economic growth. That is also important. If the GDP and per capita income is in a sound position, definitely the living of standard will also be enhanced, and the living of standard enhanced, their thinking, their approach, their perspective towards nature and environment will also be developed. The ninth one is industry. Uh, Industry, then innovation and infrastructure. That is also very important. In an attempt of developing infrastructure or establishing industries, a harm, a danger is reached to the environment and its sustainability. So that also to be given a very serious attention, and that is one of the goals of the environmentalist or the environmental science. Then the reduced inequalities. Definitely, inequality again, which is related to gender equality. So, if there is an inequality, then definitely it also affects the idea of sustainability. The 11th goal is sustainable cities and communities. In an attempt of urbanization, over urbanization, there could be rich harm or a kind of danger to the environmental existence. Then it's 13, responsible consumption and production. That's also very important. Now the idea is expressed in a very funny statement that if we are living for eating or eating for living, so consumption in all the aspects, in all the areas, biodiversity. This is the need of the hour. We witness a kind of imbalance in the uh, biodiversity in the regions of Sayadri Hills and Satpura. Unsustainable development and overconsumption practices greatly impact biodiversity. The life ecosystem is designed in such a way that species depend on one another for survival. For instance, plants produce oxygen that humans need for respiration, and that is being endangered. So there are numbers of plants which are now on the verge of decay, on the verge of even destruction. So that needs to be paid attention very seriously. Humans exhale carbon dioxide that plants need for growth and production. Unsustainable development practices like emission of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere kill many plant species, resulting in the reduction of atmosphere oxygen. Now, what are the examples of sustainable development? One is wind energy. It can be sustainable. Wind energy is energy harnessed from the motion of wind using wind turbines or windmills. Wind energy also is renewable, and the source of it is, of course, the wind natural. Solar energy is another thing that can also uh, shown as an example of sustainable development. This is energy harnessed from the sun using solar panels. Now, it is really a very good sign that society is very much aware of the use of solar energy, and they have been installing solar panels over the roofs of their buildings and getting energy from the natural unending source. Green space is essentially required because green spaces are locations where plants and animals are left to flourish. Again, I would take you to the biodiversity, where I was talking that there are certain plants which are very useful, but they are getting less in numbers, and almost they are on the verge of decay. Parks also fall into the category of green spaces. Green spaces provide people a remarkable opportunity to take pleasure in outdoor recreation, more so in big cities where resting space is hard to come by. Then crop rotation, as I already talked, that if the same pattern of crops has been continued, then definitely it defertilizes the land, and there it affects the productivity, as well as it also affects the quality of soil, and naturally there will be less production, and it will again, now it is a vicious circle. See, if one is not done, again you have to go back, and there would be a cycle which cannot be broken if not followed perfectly. What present prevents sustainable development from happening? So these are the measures to be taken to prevent sustainable development. Again, we can say what is required for sustainable development is again the need of the hour which can prevent sustainable development from happening. The first is that of many aspects of development using sustainable methods and materials is expensive. While so we have to reduce the cost of the materials, while the long-term cost of sustainability does prove to be less expensive than traditional development, and the creation of sustainable project may be far more expensive in the first place. The second issue that prevents sustainable development is uh, there is not generally accepted need for sustainable development. People just ignore it that it is not my business, it is someone else's business. So that is also not good. This is an education issue that may take many years to resolve. So education can play a very pivotal role in bringing about the change in the minds of younger generation to prevent sustainable, I mean to prevent those issues which prevent sustainable development. Now finally I come to the conclusion which I explained just now. I want to sum it up in these words. Sustainable development is largely about people. So this is related to people, that is society. Of course, it is for them, for their well-being and equity in their relationship with each other. A social harmony will be maintained in a context where nature society imbalances can threaten economic and social stability. So it's a kind of chain which can be continued in order to maintain the sustainable development. Because climate change, because of climate change, it drives its impacts, and its policy response will interact with economic production and services, human settlements, and human societies. Climate change is likely to be a significant factor in the sustainable development of many areas. So it is already mentioned in Downing's uh, report 2002. Simply stated, climate change has the potential to affect many aspects. So that needs to be given the prime importance. of human development, positively or negatively depending on the geographic location, the economic sector and the level of economic and social development already attained. It is also in the report regarding particular vulnerabilities of the poor, CEDAW and Wilbons 2003. Thanks. So